The Elektron Model Cycles is a 6-track FM synth engine with 4 different engine parameters: color, shape, sweep, and contour. So let's get started. The Cycles comes in a stylish box that looks like this, as is usual for most Elektron gear. It also comes with a braided USB-A to micro USB input and 2 headphone jack to 5-pin DIN MIDI breakout cables. As well as that, it comes with a full sticker sheet for customizing your cycles. So let's turn it on. So making a track on the Cycles is really easy. There's 2 ways of recording. There's the preset 16-step sequencer, or you can live record unquantized or quantized. So let's start a new track. So if I open up a pattern, I have 6 different channels. Number 1 is going to be kick, number 2 snare, number 3 is metal, number 4 is perk, number 5 is tone, and number 6 is going to be chord. So these you can mix them up to whatever combination you want. You're not just locked to just those 6, one of each. You can have 6 chord if you want. But so if we go here and let's record, I can just lay down a basic kick. And I'm just going to go pick a sound. There's a whole bunch of sounds in their factory folder. I like how that sounds. So we're just going to go with BD Basic. And if we play it, so then it'll go through the 16-step sequencer, but it can be more than 16 steps. So if I hold function and hit the page button, so it goes to the scale mode, I can select the track modifier and make it from 16 all the way up to 64 steps. But I'm just going to leave it at 16 because it's fine there. And then let's go to track number 2. Let's select our preset by holding function and pressing the machine button. And then scrolling into here. So then I can shape this however I want. So let's start with the color. So color, shape, sweep, and contour do a lot of different things to each different synth engine, so each of the different tracks. And it will react accordingly to what types of sound you're using and what presets you start off with. There's a list in the manual of what color, shape, sweep, and contour do on each of the 6 machines. So let's just go with that. So then I'm just gonna write it out real quick. Let's just do so then we've got that. So let's go on to our metal. So metal is going to be kind of hi-hats and cymbals and things like that. So let's go to presets. So it comes with 2 preset folders. There's the factory folder, which comes built in, and then the multi-cycled folder, which you can get once you register your cycles. So let's go with sleighs. So this one, I'm going to do some notes. The record button is not pressed. Then this is in chromatic mode, the bottom row buttons. So it goes 1, you've got a full chromatic keyboard there. I wish it would do scales mode, but that's hopefully something they'll add in the future. So to enter into quantized and unquantized live recording, you hold down the record button, press play. And to silently go to a track, because if you press on a track, it'll stop what's currently playing and play a sample. So if you hold track and then select what you want, it won't make any sound. Let's go here, and this is the main part of what you're going to be dealing with, other than just these kind of macro knobs. So I can just use this to scroll down the volume, or if I hold function, it changes the pan. Number 4, we have perk. So perk, I really like. It's got a lot of interesting sounds that you can get out of it. So this one, I only want it every so often. So I'm going to hold function and hit page to find the scale. I'm going to go track mode, and I'm going to change it. You can see by these 4 LEDs how long your track is going to be and what it's currently on. So if I hit play, it'll flash on the first one, on the second one, then on the third one, and then on the fourth one. So that's just an easy way of knowing where you are in your loop. So let's say I like that, and then if I just start the live quantize. And that's going. Another function we have is the retrig button. So it does nothing if you just press on it, but if you press on a note while holding down the retrig button, and this creates some interesting sounds that you can get with things like hi-hats. So you can get hi-hat rolls. And to access the menu of how fast it's going to be, how slow it's going to be, you hold function and hit retrig. And then it's got a rate, a length of how long each note is going to be. And then you can change those to how fast you want. So if I go to 32, 1/32, it's going to be fast. And if I go all the way to 1/80th, you've got a lot of different options in here. And so if I want to apply that to my hi-hat, let's say, if I go back into here, I've got access to this. You can actually hold on any given button and modify what it's going to be. So this is A#4, this is A#4, and one of these, yeah, that's B4. B4 at the end. Let's say I want a roll on this. So if I hold it and then I hit retrig, and then it'll bring up the trig repeat. If I just click the on button, and then I can modify, you know, the parameters. So I don't have to put in another note, and so I can get a little bit more jazzy. So we also have swing. And while we're there, let's just go over all of these. So you've got the pitch knob, you've got decay, color, shape, sweep, and contour, which are kind of like macro knobs for each of the individual synth engines. And you've got your delay send, which goes to here, reverb send, which goes to here, LFO speed, which we'll talk about that in a minute, your volume, width, distortion on it, so you can get really grainy. Your swing for either track or pattern, and then your chance and conditioning. So let's start off. So pitch is just pitch, decay is just how long your sample is going to go for. Color, shape, sweep, and contour, it's a little complicated on those, but if you read the manual, it kind of explains it well. So then we've got the delay send and the reverb send. So this is global reverb and delay. So we only have the one. We can't have multiple sizes of reverb, but we still have access to be able to use reverb. So you can change the reverb size by scrolling with this knob on the far right, and the delay time by doing the same on the one directly below it. And if you hold function on the reverb, you get reverb tone, which you can change, and then delay feedback for the delay knob. And so you can send, any given amount of noise from any track or the whole pattern directly to your reverb and delay. So LFO speed, let's talk about that. So let's say I just have, let's do some chords. So this is going to be the chord engine. Let's go to my presets real quick. I like that. It might not work for this track, but let's make it work, So chord, it'll just play a chord, and the shape is actually what changes the chord. So this is currently on preset 11 on the chords, a major 7th. And so whatever you press, it'll play that as the root note, and then it'll play a major 7th based on that. So if I go, also, if you hold function and hit on any of the tracks, you can mute it or unmute it. So if I hold function and I press this button, it goes to the click. So I can have a click running while I'm playing, so it'll just be a little bit easier to get your ideas out there. So now that we got that in, let's do my hi-hats. Let's go with that. Another thing, you've got these two parameters. So this is, I call it the punch, and this is kind of your sustain. So if I select my bass, my kick drum, and I press the punch, if I press the sustain button, it holds its notes out a little bit longer. If I select that for chord, it does roughly the same thing, but you can actually hold that notes for longer. On that note, let's start with the LFOs. So let's say I want the LFO to go on this. I don't like the pitch, so let's go to the reverb send. So we're gonna pick our waveform. So I'm just gonna pick a nice sine wave or multiplicity, which is gonna be how high our waves are, well, how often our waves go, and then the depth, which is how high our waves are. So you can see this is going, and then I can also change the LFO speed with the LFO speed knob, and then select more parameters with LFO setup, which is just function in the LFO button. So that's the basics of it. Tone is the only other one, and it's pretty much like chord, but a single note. You also have metronome, which you can manually change it, or you can tap it in by holding function. You've got your quantize menu, which you can go into with the punch and function, and you can make global quantization. You've got track quantization, and it's fine either way. So another cool feature is if you hold function and press the little wrench icon right quick here, it's going to do temporary save. So it says pattern save to temp area. So if I hit play, now if I hold down track, which controls everything, I can screw with it as much as I want, and then if I just hit function and pattern, then it'll reload that temporary save pattern. Eventually I'll be making a jam video on just an entire track start to finish on the model cycles, but for now this has been a quick overview of the model cycles. I really like it. It's contributing to my setup a lot more because this is one of my kind of smaller offshoot pieces of gear, but I think this is really gonna boost how I make music, and I only had this for about a week and a half at this point, so I've gotten a little bit of time to know how it works, and I really didn't do much procedural research on how you go through and what the workflow is like, and that's on me for not doing that. But I think that the Elektron workflow as a whole is very good, and I highly recommend the model cycles. I got this off of Perfect Circuit for $2.99, and it shipped within a couple days. Then again, I live 2 states north of where Perfect Circuit's headquarters is, so take it with a grain of salt. So this has been my quick overview of the Elektron model cycles. Highly recommend this piece of gear to anybody who wants to get into FM synthesis. I really love it.